Marshal BMX is bringing the treats this year with their new carbon BMX racing frame called the SR71 Blackbird. It's their first carbon BMX racing frame and it looks mean. And to get people hype about the new frame, they're doing a special run in the LA Lakers iconic purple and gold colorway. Now this frame is already turning a lot of heads with its carbon tubing and unique rear dropouts, but it's going to be turning even more heads with this limited Lakers inspired theme. And for proof of that, this frame caught my eye, and that's the reason why we're here, right? That's why I'm talking about it, because this one caught my eye. It's an attention grabber, for real. Now, I don't think I've ever seen a production BMX racing frame set with a basketball team inspired colorway. That's really thinking outside the box, if you ask me. If you happen to be a basketball fan or a diehard Laker fan and BMXer, this might be the frame and fork set for you. And it's funny that a basketball inspired BMX frame color hasn't already happened, since there's several basketball events that feature BMX freestyle demos in their halftime show. I think it's a cool idea and it could possibly get a few more eyes into the sport. But right now, I think Marshall needs to take a page from SE Bikes and do just like they did with football pro Marshawn Lynch and build a custom Laker theme SR71 Blackbird and send it right to LeBron James. For real, that would be dope. Imagine, like, they get this bike built up, they get it to LeBron and he sees it, he might like it, take some photos with it. That'd be a good look for the brand, good look for BMX, you know what I'm saying? It's a stretch. It's definitely a stretch, but it might be something, right? You ain't gonna know if you don't try. And speaking of LeBron James and bikes, did you know that last year he launched an advocacy initiative with Canyon Bikes called Find Your Freedom, which is meant to inspire people everywhere to get pedaling? That's right, LeBron and Canyon aim to inspire millions of potential cyclists across the globe to understand just how life-changing a bike can be. In a 2024 Cycling Weekly article, LeBron said, "Riding a bicycle has always been a big part of his life. When he was growing up, it was how he got around."
What impact do you think your bike ride over here is having on your game?
I don't know. My legs feel really good, but it was good to get out in the open field this morning, get a good bike ride, and then be prepared for the day's game.
You take the bike every day?
I think so.
From riding with friends across the city to getting to practice and wherever he needed to be. It gave him the freedom to not only get to places, but to access things that otherwise would have been out of reach. He goes on to say, even now, riding a bike makes him feel like a kid again. There's nothing like feeling the air on your face and that freedom to just ride. Yeah. Right about now, if I was Marshall, I'll make a special bike for LeBron, for real. Because you know Canyon ain't gonna make no 20-inch BMX race bike anytime soon. But if Marshall does decide to make a bike, they might need to make that bike real special and stretch the top tube out to something like 25 inches or something to fit LeBron. That dude is mad tall, so you gotta make a nice long top tube for the brother. But let's get back to this awesome frame. So, Marshall said that their new SR71 Blackbird frame is a true technological feat inspired by the shapes of the SR71 Blackbird supersonic aircraft. It's made with high-quality Toray T700 and T1000 carbon. This frame combines lightness, strength, and performance. Yeah, this frame and fork looks so beefy and ready for dominating the track. I'm loving the bold Marshall branding on the down tube and the inner fork legs. I mean, you already know how I feel about bold branding on down tube. I think that's just so dope, especially when you have big tubing like aluminum tubing and carbon tubing. You can really make it really pop on the frame. So big shout out to Marshall for that. And the C-tube on this frame is massive and clearly gets inspiration from the Prophecy Scud Evo 3 along with its integrated C-post clamp. But that's where the similarity ends, because that midsection on the Marshall is way beefier than the Scuds. And the way the bottom bracket area is constructed, it looks like this frame will have little to no flex. I mean, this thing is built up crazy. Marshall continues on and says one of the main innovations of this frame is the rear dropout part, which integrates a half circle technology offering 6 fixed positions. This unique feature allows it to improve the rigidity of the frame and to install the rear wheel with remarkable simplicity. No more hassle of adjusting the rear wheel while benefiting from multiple possible distances for the wheel. Yeah, so there are a lot of cool things going on with this frame. Now another SR71 Blackbird Special Edition colorway is the Jungle. It's a marble looking pattern done in a black and tealish color on the frame and the forks. Yellow is the offset color used for the branding, which works great and really stands out against the base color. This one is real fresh and wild looking for real. So Marshall continues on and says the SR71 Blackbird frame can accommodate a gear ratio of up to 52:18. What? That's crazy. Thanks to the rise in our rear tubes that allow for better chain clearance without the risk of crashing, this gives riders the opportunity to push their limits in terms of speed and pedaling performance. Lots of little details, man, on this frame. It's real crazy. This frame right here is all about innovation, performance, and excellence mixed in with a whole lot of style. So let's talk about the list of features on this frame. First, you got Marshall's patented semi-dropout system, which offers a 50mm adjustment range between positions 1 and 6, ensuring increased rigidity and eliminating the need for a rear wheel adjustment. It's compatible with 10mm axles, which you can set in 6 different positions, or 15mm axles, which you can set in 4 different positions. You can find the semicircle dropout system on the Pro XL, the Pro Double XL, the Pro Triple XL, and the Pro Quadruple XL, and you can also find it on that special LeBron James Pro 10X with that 25-inch top tube. Other cool features of the frame is that it's reinforced at the dropout with 70-75 aluminum. It has 80mm chain tensioners for precise horizontal tensioning for a long-lasting chain. Integration rails for connected devices such as GoPro cameras, that's really cool. You can add your action camera to your bike. It's like a feature that's made on the bike for you to put those cameras on it. That's really, really cool. It has internal cable management, plastic guides, integrated seat post clamp system, and the maximum gear ratio of 52:18. So you can rock some really big sprocket and cogs on your bike. It's pretty dope. On the geometry side of things, which I'll use the Pro XL for this part right here, is that it has a top tube length of 21 inches, bottom bracket height of 11.5 inches, seat tube angle 72.5 degrees, head tube angle 74 degrees, and the chain stay length has a minimum of 14.7 inches and a maximum length of 16.7 inches. That is a whole lot of room to play with, and it can come in real handy when dealing with certain types of tracks and riding styles. Like if you want to get that extra pop because you want to jump higher or get your front wheel up higher, you push it up to that 14.7. And if you come up on a track that has some really deep rollers and you want that back wheel to connect to the ground more, then you pull that bad boy out to the longer lengths, and yeah, it's dope. You basically have several bikes in one with that much adjustment in the rear, so that's really dope, and the look of it really stands out. This frame and fork is no joke. It's ready to perform on the track. It's got a lot of features that help you get around that track faster. This is an exotic looking frame set for real. And speaking of exotic carbon BMX race frames, there are a few other notable exotic frames out there, like the Prophecy Scud Evo 3, which I mentioned earlier, and it was my all-time favorite carbon BMX race frame and the most futuristic looking one when it first came out. This was a groundbreaking frame right here. You know, that whole seat tube section and the way the curves were on that, and the really big tubing on this bike is, man, this bike still to this day looks amazing, and they always have some really cool colors and graphics on the frame and fork set too. But this Marshall is giving it a run for its money. Now, another frame that's giving the Marshall and the Prophecy a run for their money is that sick Ice Raptor with its unique arch type rear end and its really nice lines. This bike is a standout with that rear end. Nobody's got something that's designed like that in BMX racing, and man, it looks fire. Plus, its new 2025 colorways are really fresh. And there's also the Wheel-Wisp Roncon with its unique lug type carbon tubing. And I can't forget the Supercross Vision F1 and the Meebo HSX Carbon with a super liquid looking gloss paint job. I'll be making the list of the best carbon BMX frames on sugarcane.com soon, so stay tuned for that. So now, what I want you to do, before you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, of course, is I need y'all to wipe that drool off your face from looking at all this BMX dopeness. And don't get upset and depressed because these frame sets are so expensive. Once you look it up, you're gonna choke. You're gonna choke on your food because the frames are super expensive. But there's a lot of technology that goes behind the construction of these bikes. So, you know, it is what it is. But don't get depressed. Don't get upset. This is what it is, okay? And just stay tuned for the next video because I got more coming. As a matter of fact, I think right about now there's a video that popped up. So if you haven't seen that one, check that one out, all right? So let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear what you have to say about this frame set. All right, I'm out. It's Crazy Al Kane, Chicane.com, CAC TV, bringing you all the BMX, hip hop, and other dope treats. Back to you.